Good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. With this esteemed dignitaries sharing a dais, it's an opportunity that I can't miss. And to begin with, if you see the panel, we have an entrepreneur, a hotelier, industrialist, and all of them come from such different and diverse, set of industries. And in our islands, we have it all. But I would like to begin this conversation with an idea from all of you to see if we have all these things, opportunities lying across island, what is one thing that you believe can set the tone for upcoming, let's say, new entrepreneurs, and how can they be a profitable business but at the same time be sustainable for the islands?
Okay, you want me to take this one? Hello everyone, good evening. We have a great August audience here. Thank you all the dignitaries present on the dais, all the panelists. Thank you Rashmi, thank you Nandita. So to give you a brief, I'm the fourth generation living here, right? The islands is in my blood, in my family's blood. My forefathers were freedom fighters. I definitely did my schooling here, then my undergrad and my masters were in America and Switzerland. Definitely I took a U-turn from all of that and came in the islands because I saw this potential and the idea where this island could go. After traveling around the world, getting know how tourism is working, I definitely could see what Andaman had the potential for. And as Rashmi said, it's not about just setting the tone. The tone has been set. Now the thing is, how do we capitalize on it? There are a lot of projects lined up. There's one island project, one island, one resort project. There's a golf resort project. There are many other projects lined up. There's the GNI project happening. But here, where the thing comes for local entrepreneurs is, where we need to set the tone for them is we need to lay down the policy rules straight up. There should be complete clarity, no confusion, so that when they look into the paper, they know what they're investing in. From the day they ideate the idea to when they'll start, they have a timeline to it. It shouldn't be that a young entrepreneur who's thriving with new ideas, by the time he's able to get the permission, the idea is lost in translation. So yes, we need sustainability, we need rules and regulations, we need CRZ, we need to protect the environment. But on day one, these new rules need to be laid down, communicated directly. And the young entrepreneurs should be invited to all panels and policy discussions. Yes, experience is required from stakeholders from every industry, but every panel should have at least 30 to 40% youth stakeholders, because it's their 50 years from now what they are looking at. It's their future children and generation what they want to build for. So that clarity should be there. And also, if we are encouraging today, what Andaman is just missing out on infrastructure, if we want to build infrastructure, we need to realize that this is an island where cost of building is double or triple. Everything comes from outside. That's a reality, and it's nothing new, because all islands face that infrastructure challenge, and that's completely okay. But to encourage and to get it to a faster pace, we need to have some kind of an incentive scheme to promote that kind of entrepreneurial. Maybe, okay, you can set a limit to it, but the young entrepreneurs who you want, because island has a limitation of providing employment. How many employment can we provide by the government? There is an upper limit to it. We want, the current government, PM is encouraging entrepreneurship. We want people to come under the entrepreneurship pool to, start their own ventures, startups. So just give them those incentives, make it small, but start it and give them a clear timeline, not just they're going round and round the table. It shouldn't be that.
Sure. Ibrahim, I would like to come to you as a local entrepreneur who's built a business ground up in the islands. Take us through your journey. Would you concur with what he said about laying down the policy and of course about challenges regarding logistics? Were those the major concerns you also faced, and what kind of message would you like to give to budding entrepreneurs in the island?
First of all, thank you so much for inviting me as a panelist. So I was abroad for 11 years. So I'm a 7th generation entrepreneur from these islands. My family has been here for the last 100 years. I went to Canada. I did a ghar wapsi. I said, India mein jo abhi jo tarakki, I don't think the abroad can offer that. I came back and I started from scratch. I didn't join my family business. So I definitely understand the pains that, the challenge that I went through it. First of all, I would really appreciate what Tanveer said. This is the same story as an entrepreneur that even I am facing. For example, Andaman is developing in a macro level. 2014 के बाद जब से प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी देश के प्रधानमंत्री बने हैं, जितना अटेंशन अंडमान्स को मिला है उतना आई डोंट थिंक पिछले 60 साल में कभी किसी को मिला होगा. इन आपका केबल से लेके एयरपोर्ट का हो गया एंड लॉट ऑफ अदर थिंग्स, PPP projects, defense projects, infrastructure, highways. But these are all good in the macro level. Micro level में what happens is development एक तरफ से तो हो रहा है, but what about the actual masses, the islanders living here? अब जो PPP projects आ रहे हैं, हम लोग अंडमान वाले तो जाके नौकरी लेंगे नहीं वहाँ पे. कोई भी अंडमान वाला नौकरी तो करेगा नहीं, क्योंकि यहाँ पे business उनके खून में है. But as an entrepreneur, if they want to start something, the permissions जो है, जो भी है, there should be a time-bound frame line in which they can get all the necessary permissions. Now, for example, if I have a land, अब वो land लेके it is an ancestral land. Now I don't know उसमें मैं होटल बना पाऊँगा कि नहीं, because वो zoning का issue है, पहले आ जाता है. अब अगर कमर्शियल के लिए अप्लाई करता हूँ तो 2-2.5 साल हो जाता है, कभी कभी 5 साल में भी कमर्शियल नहीं होता है. देन आई थिंक कि अरे यार वो PPP में तो कमर्शियल हो गया, मैं आइलैंडर 100 साल से यहाँ जी रहा हूँ, मुझे कमर्शियल नहीं हो रहा है. सो सो दैट थिंग एंटरप्रेन्योर्स आर फीलिंग. सेकेंड थिंग, जो भी डेवलपमेंट होता है, द डेवलपमेंट हैज़ टू हैपन विद अ लॉजिक पर्टेनिंग टू द आइलैंड्स. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, स्मार्ट सिटी यहाँ पे बना है. स्मार्ट सिटी में आप सोचिए, हयात सिंह जंक्शन में देयर इज अ सिग्नल लाइट, 100 मीटर में वापस आना द सिग्नल लाइट इन डेयरी फार्म जंक्शन. तो व्हाट लॉजिक इज देयर? वी हैव 2 ट्रैफिक सिग्नल्स इन 100 मीटर्स. इससे बेटर तो ये था कि जब पुलिस हाथ से करता था, दैट वाज मच मोर इजियर इन एन आइलैंड वे. सो दैट डजंट मीन कि आप सिग्नल लाइट अगर ऑल सिटीज़ में है तो अंडमान में भी आप सिग्नल लाइट डालेगा. सिग्नल लाइट डाल के बातू बस्ती में आई थिंक देयर इज मोर ट्रैफिक देन व्हाट इट यूज्ड टू बी बिफोर. So so these are small things. So I think all the policies, all the decisions, more stakeholders from the islands, should be involved. The Panchayati Raj institution, I'm very happy to see that the Zilla Parishad, the former Adhyaksh and the present Adhyaksh are sitting here. I think more people, we need more people like him, the politicians, the local leaders, the local stakeholders, everyone to, because they are the people who are on the ground. So they understand, what are the issues, what are the challenges that they are facing. So I think ये अगर हो जाने से, then I think Andaman is definitely going ahead and it's on the right track.
What about the challenge of power availability? Naveen, I would like to come to you. Of course, you guys have forayed into small modular reactors as well, participating in India's energy transition. Could power availability be the biggest challenge for the islands? And how can that be tackled?
No, thanks, Nandita, for the question. See, power availability is definitely an issue. But जैसे my colleagues they have pointed out, see, power availability, we have to bring the thinking in a different way. So now when we talk about most of the power that is actually happening in this island, it is through the gen sets and so many things. So with this
Heavy on diesel.
Heavy on diesel. So but India actually right now, if you talk about solar, absolutely reached at the peak. And if you talk about the solar plus battery, the cost has come down to whopping 3.3 rupees, right? 3 odd rupees, which is the lowest in the world. So those things can also be replicated, as my fellow panelist rightly said. I think the scheme come from Delhi, the centrally, all those viability gap funding, the performance link incentives, they are there, but it has to be penetrated at the state level, at the last mile connectivity. So the first mile connectivity is already done. Policy is there, I think probably the best in the world. Right now, our average strike rate per annum, it is like close to 45 gigawatt, right? We started with 1 gigawatt, 45 gigawatt. Though we are not comparing with China, their strike rate is like close to 250 gigawatt. But 45 gigawatt by any means is the best. So that is where I think it has to be, it has to go to the last mile connectivity now. Now the time has come where it has to go to that level. Number one. Number two, there are like this solar plus batteries, it is absolutely implementable. So at least a gen set where the cost of electricity, I was talking, the cost of electricity is like whopping 25 rupees, 26 rupees per unit versus 3 rupees.
Highest in India.
Is highest in the India, and 3 rupees, it is like already so many projects are there. So that is actually the easy, I think, quick win that we say in English, absolutely quick win. Second, about nuclear being, I think, considered, actually, especially it work very well for a place like Andaman where everything can work on islanding mode. You know, it is like one island, and you just put take example like suppose the average peak power in Andaman is let's say 200 megawatt. You put a small modular reactor of 200 megawatt. Right now the cost is slightly on higher side, but I think government of India is pushing a lot of efforts, giving 20,000 odd crores to develop this small modular reactor. But I think in times to come, it will be one of the perfect example. It is just like about submarine. Put the fuel, 200 megawatt, one fuel, and there is no explosion zone. It works very well, and 60 years it will just work like this. So I think nuclear can be a potentially be very cost competitive in times to come. But right now, I think the cost is very high. So when you talk about SMR, 80 crores per megawatt is way too high as compared to 4 odd crores per megawatt for solar, 8 odd crores per megawatt for wind, and close to 8 odd crores per megawatt for thermal power. But if we talk about the future, Andaman 2.0, 3.0, as we move forward, nuclear is definitely one of the solutions.
Well, coming to Nitin sir, now Oyo happens to be one of your franchise where you take a lot of pride in, and we all have heard about Oyo, and Oyo happens to be someone, any local person, anyone who would wish to travel, they can book in an Oyo and can stay. But you have also moved in sector where luxury hotel brands are also part of it, Oyo now. Now coming to the tourism part in islands, we for the past few years, maybe post COVID, we have been seeing a lot of homestays coming up. A lot of small businesses coming up where they are converting their own piece of land to a small resort, maybe not a big resort, but a small staycation kind of a setup. Now, though it is not exactly the same as Oyo, but the idea behind it is probably the same. And one complaint that most of the mainlanders do for Andaman is it's easier to go and have a vacation in Bali than to come and fly to Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Now, what is your thought on it? How we can encash on this kind of a setup in our islands, and with your expertise, what do you suggest there?
Thank you, and thank you for framing it well. Pleasure to be here in front of all of you. This happens to be my first visit to Andaman, and the history is all around, and it's so pristine. And you're right, I've also been guilty of actually having to travel to some of the Southeast Asian ones. It's just they're just more mainstream, and that's perhaps where some of our lessons lie, right? But before I answer this comprehensively, I have to give context of this company. I know most people in the room have heard of, but don't know what stage it is at, and the experiences we've learned not just from India but outside India. So today, this company, which we've rechristened to Prism, just to signify the fact that we now 35 plus hospitality brands. So we are sort of one of the perfect examples of new age companies, which is making in India for the world. We'll be one of the largest business to consumer global brands to emerge out of India, all our brands combined. We are in 35 plus countries. While most of our technology and work gets done in India, but about 80% of our revenues are coming from outside India. Our major markets are almost all the developed countries that you can think of, which actually are also big tourism magnets and also ecologically responsible tourism. So be it US, many countries in continental Europe, Southeast Asia, Middle East, even Australia, and so on. So now with that context and the fact that this is a company which helps operate 25,000 hotels, and coming to homestays, we are the largest vacation home, summer home platform in Europe, with more than 100,000 such homes on our platform. So we've actually seen, we've had a lot of experience in coastal town and islands homes, whether it's in Denmark coast, on the Belgian coast, on the Croatian islands, and so on. I think there's a lot more that can be done. We've started that initiative in India as well. So in Denmark, we have this company, this brand called a dance center, which runs a lot of vacation homes. We've brought that concept to India now. We've started with Goa. Perhaps it's time to also explore bringing them into places like this. The important aspect would be something that you guys started off with, which is while all this happens, how do local entrepreneurs and local economy benefits, right? So I think just 2-3 things I would say. An island is not just a landmass with a beach. You know, the whole economy is very different. The costs are very high. There's only so much load that it can take. So I think the 3 things that we can learn, because it's just early days for Andaman as far as tourism is concerned, is to focus on high yield customers. Don't go for volumes, right? A mainland city, for instance, for us, can accommodate the 12,000 beds in just one night. If you think about it in comparison, I think Andaman last year had just 12,000 international tourists throughout the year, right? And we also have this thing that you have now affluent Indians going out to international destinations. And I think last year we spent around 3 trillion rupees, 3 billion rupees outside. So getting in more vacation homes, which are community owned, capacity capped, run through global platforms like us so that they have the online tourism, online demand coming in. But making sure that the people stay longer through concepts such as wellness stays, you know, a whole lot of your scuba and marine certification, because those customers stay longer, right? And ensuring that we develop the multi-island circuit. So they stay longer, they stay off season, and they spend more without taxing the environment too much.
Tanveer, what are your thoughts? How can one really increase the yield per customer? Because the government is also trying, positioning Andaman as value driven and not volume driven, right? So, as somebody who has, a resort, a luxury resort, how would you look at increasing the yield per tourist?
Okay, so we are talking about value creation here.
Yeah.
So as Nitin said, I'll pull a little bit numbers out. So we saw increase of 120% increase in our domestic arrivals. We were sitting at 350,000 tourists. We got 7 lakh tourists the following year. We were all very happy clapping, domestic tourists. But international arrivals only had an increase of 10%. We grew from 10,000 to 11,000, right? Now, you have to identify your yield per customer. A tourist visiting Maldives, a yield per customer is, let's say, 3 lakh rupees. But yield per customer visiting Andaman is 50,000 to 75,000. Ballpark, I'm saying. So the only way, how Nitin said, is to increase your yield, reduce your volume. Again, where we lost on the yield was our international client. We need to definitely identify what's the problem that the international tourism didn't grow at the desired rate what domestic took a jump at, right? Definitely we will see our yield going up with projects like, we have a very nice project coming up called the Rangachang Golf Village, which has a 18-hole golf course, convention center, everything. There's a new upcoming project also which is called the Goodwill Estate, with the consultants and the department is deciding. So, but the whole idea with the project should be to focus on wellness and medical, so that we remove the seasonality part from our business, right? We don't want an off-season. With wellness and medical tourism, something what Singapore is doing, or Malaysia is doing, or Turkey is doing, we need a year-round period, and we need to give people a reason to come to Andamans. Not everyone will just come, you put in 10 hotels, everyone is doing mice weddings. That's not the type of client you want, that people come in for 2 days, destroy the place, you know, increase your waste, you're not sustainable anymore. You don't need that. So you need to give specific projects, identify them, especially like golf has a reason to come, wellness has a reason to come, medical has a reason to come. And definitely we are working along those lines, but it needs to be encouraged on more platform. And especially today, a destination like Port Blair, which is becoming more like a transit place, needs like a medical or wellness or something to anchor it, and not like a bunch of 10 hotels which is just doing mice and weddings. And secondly, I'm telling you, I'm very happy that the government, ANETCO, Niti Aayog, is putting out nice projects like these. They're giving out, auctioning nice parcels of land. But where I'm concerned, as we earlier said, with the local community, is that if we don't skill them, right, if we don't provide those institutes or we don't educate them, our local community won't be able to take advantage of these opportunities because skill has the most lead time, right? To create skilled people, you have the maximum lead time. So if we start today, then only our local population, our local youth will be able to participate in the growth story of this. So alongside these nice hotel projects, we do need an international class, a gold class hotel management institute, finishing institute, a medical institute. That helps our local community also to grow along with these projects.
Now, as Tanvi said, we are on the right path. It's just that we are slow probably. And you also picked up on the off season that happens to be our pressure point. Ibrahim, I'll come to you. How does other businesses suffer due to off season? Because we have always spoken about tourism being affected by off seasons, but nobody thinks about a lot of other businesses get affected by the same. And that's a micro tourism effect, but it in the ground reality it's a something affects each and every household in our islands. So what will be your thought on that?
So definitely when off season comes, so because of tourism everything is interlinked. Once first of all the air prices goes up, and if no tourist comes here, then definitely hotels khali jayega, people won't be able to sell more vegetables, more fruits. Everything is linked with each other. Even FMCG business, you won't be able to do much more sales. So I feel, as Tanveer rightly said, we need to have an off-season attraction that can attract a lot of tourists here, because tourism is our main thing. Apart from this, even if we focus on fisheries, fisheries can also not be done during these months because it's completely raining, monsoon. So similarly, as we look for more attractions, I would also like to say that Andaman Nicobar has a very beautiful local culture that needs to be promoted. So I run a handicraft business. There are a lot of handicrafts that you see in Andaman Nicobar Islands. People buy, tourist buys here. They are not from Andamans, sadly. The shells that you buy, the pearls that you buy, everything comes from Chennai. You buy it and then again you take it to Chennai. So we need to, promote local artwork, local handicraft. You go to Mayabandar, you see the Karen community over there. You go to Nicobar, you see the Nicobaris, the basket making, the boat making, the miniature models. So these are something which needs to be promoted more. For example, I feel a technical institute should be set up by the local administration, which should train the Nicobaris on making their own handicrafts. Very sadly, in today's, the newer generation, not a lot of Nicobaris know even how to make what their parents used to make. In fact, forget about the handicrafts, they don't even speak in Nicobaris. We need to promote Nicobari as a language. Nicobari should be the third language in all Nicobari schools in Nicobar district. There should be signs in Nicobar, English, Hindi and Nicobari signs in Nicobar. Similarly, that's how we promote local language, right? And then, in fact, they are also very good in singing. They are very good in music. So, these things, can be a very good attraction in the evenings. यहाँ पे people come here, tourists बोलते हैं रात को भाई करने के लिए कुछ है नहीं, कहाँ जाऊँ? सेल्लोर जेल तो हमको देखना भी, बहुत लोग जाते हैं, but बहुत लोग ऐसा भी नहीं, हमको सेल्लोर जेल नहीं देखना है और डिप्रेशन हो जाता है, हमको कहीं और जाना है, ऐसा भी बोलते हैं. तो उसके लिए क्या है, ठीक है, आप सेल्लोर जेल आपके लिए एक ऑप्शन है, लाइट एंड साउंड शो आप देख सकते हैं. अगर आपको लाइट एंड साउंड शो नहीं देखना, you go to a cultural village where you'll see all the tribals performing. There, we have Nicobaris, we have Karen, we have the Ranchi community, we have Tamil community. It's like a mini India thing. You can develop a nice thing. How you have in Delhi, I think Chokardani or something like that. We can have a food stall, a food street. So there are a lot of things to do. Great Nicobar mein, there's a very famous mushroom which glows in the night. You can make a botanical garden here with so much mushrooms. उसी से आप पर डे का 500 रुपीज़ टिकट रख देगा, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन कमा लेगा बहुत. There's so much opportunity. A lot of people in the room know Andaman has a state flower, which is very similar to the cherry blossom that we see in Japan. We make Marina Park, we make all the Gandhi Park, but we don't put that state flower. No, our next generation will even forget about the state flower. Make a street where we put both the trees, on both the sides. Let's make it a cherry blossom festival, something like that, and that happens here. So if you go towards Bamboo Flat right now, or if you go tomorrow, if you ever get a chance, you'll see a lot of purple color flowers. It looks very similar, and on the floor also you might see a lot of flowers there. So these are the things this is the actual beauty of Andamans. Development, yes, definitely. You know, we need development, we need good infrastructure, we need better roads, we need water, we need electricity. But these are some soft tourism. Prime Minister Modi, I know whenever he goes abroad, he says, you know, India has a soft power. So this is Andaman's soft power. And jab Andaman will grow, definitely we need to promote these soft power. Then only we'll be able to, you know, have a sustainable development.
Naveen, coming to you, of course, since you've spoken about how Ashwini Vaishnav wants to, establish, government has more aspirations when it comes to Andaman and look beyond tourism. If the government has your ear for 60 seconds, what would you like to suggest, or what would you like to, lay out to the government, so that they can establish this place as a data center hub? Because internet connectivity is not an issue; it's the power issue that's mainly plaguing the island, right? So, what should be done for the government to really speed up, that ambition that they want to establish here?
No, very good question. Three things I would say here. Number one is data center, I think can be a very good opportunity. And for that, I think nuclear coupled with data center is amazing. Because for running a data center, you need round the clock, RTC power, right? And nuclear is definitely the answer. So small modular reactor can be definitely a solution. Second, there is a maritime services. I think that can be promoted in this place. You know, the nursing and maritime, especially the colleges, that can, because skill is definitely, I agree with one of my panelists that skill is definitely be on a critical path. As we move forward, we don't have the skilled manpower. In our industry, iron steel, the most conventional, very old industry, if I have to call, take a call that who can be the top potentially future leaders in who can act as a CEO, I won't be able to cross one. So that is how so I think maritime industry can definitely be one of the industry to be developed here. Plus the third is the bunkering hub. This place can definitely act as a bunkering hub and going for a low carbon emission fuels like blue methanol or ammonia. They can be like, power is the crux from electrons, how you convert to the molecules. So now three places have been identified. On the eastern coast we have Paradeep, on the western coast we have Kandla, and southern coast on Tuticorin. So beyond Tuticorin, I think this can also be a potential hub that can be developed and as a bunkering hub, and it can work really well. So that is how I think we have to the growth in the island has to come apart from the tourism and so service industry, and as a data center can be I think future opportunity for this island.
I think with all the audience here and with this one session, let's say this is the beginning of such ideas, with very young minds sitting in, this can be an opportunity for them to retrospect on their ideas, and maybe who knows, in coming days we might have a Andaman Blossom Festival happening in our islands, or maybe a data center, coming up with some ideas with energy being sustainable, backed up energy. So I think this can be a nice initiative, and we are setting that stone as the idea summit, rightly intend to. So I think thank you so much to all of you, and with this all suggestion, probably we'll take this all as a way forward from here on. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot for joining in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I was to just say what he suggested in 2 words, right? The attractions, Instagrammable attractions is the way, right?
Of course, that's the in thing.